Okay, good evening and welcome to the first session of Master Gardener for primarily West Central and Western Nebraska. We have Master Gardener trainees and veterans from across the state that are joining us tonight. And this is a wonderful opportunity to get to know you and to talk about the program and the details about the program going forward and what it means to be a Master Gardener, as well as getting you started with the setup to record your hours. And we're going to have just a question and answer session. So as you have questions in the room or online, please let me know, unmute your microphone and then ask the question or put it in the chat box. So the handout that you have in front of you on email or in person is exactly what I'm talking about. So each night you will get handouts and publications. And so I will send those out ahead. So you have the ability to print them off or download them for your use. If you come to class in person, you'll get a paper copy. So. Okay, Master Gardeners. And people will say, well, how could I be a Master Gardener? I don't know everything. And the answer is no one knows everything about the horticulture world. So much going on, so many different fields. We have lived in different places. Our environments are different. What we've been exposed to and what we have learned is different. So we will never fully know everything. So the idea of Master Gardener is to help teach people. We teach you, and then you can share the good information out with the public. And that's the big piece for Master Gardener and why it's so important. And it was a program started in 1972 at Washington State University, as their extension program could not handle all the requests and needs and help for their horticulture staff. They're just totally inundated in the state of Washington. So they built this framework for volunteers to receive university level training and then to share and volunteer their time with projects or help the extension staff with projects that they're working on or help in their communities, whether it be a local tree board or a community garden or a church group or a youth group, anything that's related back to plants and the environment, basically. Yeah, so that's what's so great about it. So it's anyone that has the interest, you're more than welcome. And we're continuously learning. I just learned a new trick on my computer today that made things a little easier for me that I didn't know. And I shared it with Vicki, our office manager, and she didn't know it either. So I guess, hey, you get surprised every so often. So it's really important. I was helping actually a friend in Indiana this winter about starting pine trees from the cones, and I had to do the research. And I found a wonderful resource that I'll share with you later this week. So makes starting trees a little bit easier so you can start your own seedlings. So, but it was kind of a needle in the haystack question, and I didn't fully know what resources we needed for them. And I found it and shared it and sent it out. And I thought, Master Gardeners would really probably help having that in their hands too. So you'll get that. So as I find something that's an aha that I think is good, I will send it out to you and share it with you. So the biggest thing is being willing to participate and learn and expand your skill toolbox, having more pieces and more knowledge that you can collect. So I guess you could be a hoarder of knowledge. That's a good thing. So as long as you share the information that you hoard, that's great. So that's great. And we want you to do that, because you're what we call our multiplier effect with the university. Our Master Gardeners across the state volunteer their hours back to the communities, and we keep track of them. That's why we have a reporting system. And every year we report that back to our local Board of County Commissioners, our state senators, our extension administration, clear on up to our federal delegation in Washington, D.C. every year. And on the average, the volunteer hours that Master Gardeners give in the state of Nebraska have the value of equivalent of 12 extension educator positions. above and beyond what we already have staffed here in Nebraska. So it's really amazing. So what you learn and give back to the community is so important. So it's really wonderful. There's lots of opportunities to help and plan educational opportunities within the extension office, but we also get calls with the extension program, or people will say, hey, I need a master gardener that might serve on this board or help guide us on this type of project. And so you start to become known in your community and you become that resource that people start calling on. That's where you share the knowledge informally, and that counts for your education, your volunteer hours as well. And so there's lots of opportunities to help locally and statewide, and we'll share those with you. And the biggest thing is just being excited to learn and being willing to learn. And there will be some times where we will bust a few myths, or the practices and the recommendations have changed over the years. So sometimes we have to update some things that have changed that we used to do, that we found out through research, either here locally in Nebraska or in other states, that maybe there's something better that we can do that's even better. So that's a constant learning, and that's good. So the requirements for Master Gardener is a basic interest in learning about horticulture and related fields. Related fields are the fields of plant pathology, so plant diseases. We are learning about entomology, which is the study of insects. Plant botany, so botany and horticulture merge in nicely with each other. There's a lot of ecology and changing environments, soils, all those topics come through and they bleed in. There's also food production, food safety that will cross over. And so that's where sometimes we cross into family consumer science programs, and where we have had family consumer science educators teach a topic in the past. So, and we brought those in because we get lots of questions with freezing, canning, and those kind of things as well. And people will ask you about freezing and canning questions too. And if you don't know, but you know who to talk to, send them on. That's the best thing. So that's good. You are a positive ambassador to Extension for us, to the community. You are the ones who are being trained as the volunteers, and you are some of our biggest cheerleaders that we have across the state. You support the work of what we do, you are learning, and then you can share the story of what the university brings to our local communities in all 93 counties across the state and beyond. We taught some virtual programming this summer that was available called Grow Big Red. We had people from England signed up watching online. So the power of distance education is pretty amazing now. So we do have the forms to fill out, which are the code of conduct, the liability, and we also, I said pesticide recommendation. There's also one on photo release form. So there's 3 forms that you'll need to fill out. If you have not, and you can either drop them off, mail them off, email them to Vicki or I, and I'll put that in the chat box for you. And then complete your education and volunteer hours to gain your certification. And you will get a certificate from the university that you are certified. And some people really like that because that counts towards work and community service towards their job employer. So, and I have had the honor of giving a 25-year service award to a Master Gardener, received a beautiful crystal vase, and now her name was Cynthia Hobblewalks. She is over in Dawson County. They moved about 1.5 years ago and moved to Oklahoma, but she received her 25-year service award before she left. And then we transferred her paperwork to Oklahoma's Master Gardener program so she could continue being a Master Gardener in another state. So pretty cool. So the overview of the certification, you attend your classes and activities as we have you have lots of opportunities to gain your hours. So that's not a problem. When we plan programming, so if we sit down and we're planning like building this calendar we showed you, or we're building a program to overhaul the flower beds, your planning time counts as volunteer hours. Programs and projects don't just create themselves. So planning, developing, creating, teaching, evaluating, all those are steps in the volunteer process. We also have some people that love to do the maintenance out in the greenhouse here at North Platte. And so I have people that do the greenhouse maintenance and they just love the time out in the greenhouse on their own. And that works great too. And Valerie's online tonight. Valerie's from Dawson County, and she came over and helped us clean up the storeroom in the greenhouse where all our supplies and our tools were at, which is a huge help. That also counted. We have group functions, we have our meetings, but we hopefully, depending on what the weather and what health situations are like, we hope to do an educational tour in June of some type, and you as a group will help decide our destination depending on what restrictions we have if we have a need to work with. So in the past, we have went to Scotts Bluff to see the geothermal greenhouse at the Natural Resource District. We went out to Wildcat Hills as part of that trip. Another time we went to Alliance to the Blue Jay Iris Farm when that was still running. So we went out there. We have went to Lincoln to see the governor's residence and the landscaping around the governor's residence by Kim Todd. She gave the tour because she helped design that. That was a UNL project right on the grounds of the state grounds, which were really amazing that she had the connections to have our ability to be on the grounds. We got to tour the governor's residence too. We have toured the Arboretum on campus. We have went through the statewide Arboretum's greenhouses, the greenhouse system in Lincoln. So there's lots of different places we could go that would be a lot of fun. So, and also you help pick out the programs. This year, the input from Master Gardeners helped create our schedule this year. So you help us give input on what you want to learn. So you are directing the learning. I have so many, you have to pick out of so many categories and then we can specialize what we want to learn. So that's really nice. For our new Master Gardeners who are going to gain their certification, you can get your hours done in 1 year, which is 40 hours of education, which are really easy to gain, and 40 hours of volunteer service and pay that initial fee, which is the $180. You can do that in 1 year. Some are gung-ho, they'll get it done in 1 year. Or you can do it in 2 years to gain your certification. And you do not have to pay $180 that second year. The second year fee is $20. So the big expense for the $180 are your manuals and your name badge and your shirt and also the background check that the university does. So that's what encompasses your $180. But a big chunk of that is your manuals that we showed, and I can show you here in a minute. They've been passed around here in North Platte. So you have lots of flexibility. Your veteran Master Gardeners, so after you get your certification, the year after that, you basically need 10 hours of education. So roughly attending 3 classes or going to some other educational opportunity or watching episodes of Backyard Farmer. However, that gets you to 10 hours, that's what you need, and 20 hours of planning and teaching and working. So your number of volunteer hours and education hours drop after that once you get your certification. So, and then pay your fee. So your $20 fee. For those who have lapsed, who are returning to the Master Gardener program, if you have not completed your 40 and 40, we'll work towards what you need and get your hours in. Or if you were a certified Master Gardener, you got your certificate and then left, you just have to complete 10 hours of education and 20 hours of volunteer service a year and pay the $20 fees. So we're very lucky here at the university that we have good support for the Master Gardener program, because our state leader, our state Master Gardener leader, is a part of the faculty on Lincoln's campus, on East Campus in Kime Hall. And we do not have to support the salary or the program through our fees. Some state fees for Master Gardener are over $500 for beginners, because they are not supported by the department. So basically the Master Gardener fees are paying for the salary of the state coordinator. That's not the case in Nebraska. We are very lucky to have state support that person, who her name is Terry James, also has other functions and responsibilities on campus beyond state Master Gardener coordinator, and she's part of the faculty. So we're very blessed here in Nebraska to keep our fees very manageable for people. So our education hours in general, when we're talking about those, the idea is to expand your personal knowledge, add more tools to your personal toolkit, includes all areas of horticulture and related fields. We scratched the very top dust layer off. So horticulture, entomology is your insects. We have plant pathology. We have arboriculture, which is trees, viticulture, which would be your grapes, for instance, orchard work, vegetables, lawn care, insects. They're all in this living environment that all react to each other: soils, weather, precipitation, water. All those factors come together for your education. And you will find that it is all interconnected together. So there's also personal interest topics. For instance, we had a program a few years back on deer-resistant plant materials for Western Nebraska. So that was a topic. Someone brought it up. So let's look at the list of things that do well out here and that you could use in your landscapes. So perfect. We talked about those topics. That's why we're doing a class on ornamental grasses and sedges for Western Nebraska. So the ornamental grasses are another tool in the toolkit of plant material that we can use in the landscape. So we want to bring as much diversity into the landscape. So one, we don't have everything knocked out by a disease or an insect problem, but also it brings the biodiversity in with beneficial insects that help with pollination and other functions that are very good for our environment. And also, if there's any individual research, if you want to read about a certain topic that you've really gotten into, so maybe you're interested in beekeeping, we have lots of publications and materials on specific topics that you want to read on. You can do your own reading and learning as long as it's a USDA extension resource or a credible source from the horticulture industry is perfectly fine. I want to show you the statewide application. Many of you have already done this, is the website, and this is what it looks like. This is a screenshot of that, and you can literally go here and plug your information in. It is a very easy application to fill out. It must be filled out prior to January 15th. That is our cutoff date if you are a brand new Master Gardener. If you've been in Master Gardener before, you've already done it. So you don't have to worry about that. And then at the very end, there's a submit button. You send that, click that submit button. Your application will come to me, and then we can get you the materials. So if you're brand new and haven't done this yet, we need you to get that application in. And then the next one, and this applies to some Master Gardeners that haven't put their reporting site information in, or new people, we have a volunteer reporting site for your education and your volunteer hours. And this is the website that you go to click and fill out a profile. And I will show you, we'll take a break, and I will show you how to fill one out. So everyone will get to see how it's filled out, if that's okay. And if you cannot remember a past account name, so maybe you haven't been on that reporting site for a while, you forgot your username or your password, there are buttons that will show us how to do that on this website. So here's a screenshot of the created account and the toggle. And I wish it was a little bit bigger, but you can see what it looks like. And you can see what the screen looks like to at least get you started. And if you forget a password, that's okay, because we have where under here it says forgot password or ask for help. Click on one of those and you will get your password emailed back to you to the email that you registered the account with. Or if you forgot your username, just click the get help and then Terry will get you back on track. So not a problem. So she receives these emails. And if there's other questions, she'll send me an email for clarification. So the volunteer reporting site is where we put our education hours in online. You can use your log sheet that I sent to you on email and dropped off in person. If you just want to, you can write things down on paper just to kind of keep track of. Some people will do that and then transfer all their hours in the fall, or you can just go log in and add hours as you want. So you can do it either way, but the paper, for me, I do a better job of writing stuff down as I go, and then I can transfer it later. So that helps. It gets our volunteer hours logged in. It helps us keep track of the fees. So when you pay your fees, Vicki can get into the system and she can mark that you paid your fees. Then that shows to Terry James at the state level that the money she's receiving in deposits matches our accounts. So there's the accounting piece. And it also tracks your service anniversaries. So like when Cynthia received her 25-year, we knew that she was getting a 25-year award, for instance. So we get awards for 5, 10, 2025. I think some people have went up. I've seen a 40-year service in Nebraska since I've been here, and a 45. And so we've seen some people that have been there for a long, long time. So they're pretty amazing to get to know. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so we talked about categories for your Master Gardener hours. And the following slides are categories that your education and volunteer hours can be recorded under, because they will have drop boxes that you can drop. You can click the drop box and select the category. And we'll do that afterwards too. So your continuing ed hours for Master Gardener, here are some examples of the topics. So any program that is taught by the statewide Arboretum or the Forestry Service, or distance learning, if you took a class through UNL, that would apply. If you are taking your initial Master Gardener training, any other sponsored program that Extension teaches or the university teaches that would benefit you would be considered education. And also watching Backyard Farmer, which is part of the university, and it's not NET anymore. It's a new title, but Nebraska Educational TV has a new title, but that's what that is. So that works. If you do an industry program, so NTA is Nebraska Turfgrass Association, NNLA is Nebraska Nursery and Landscape Association, and then ANAA is the Nebraska Arborist Association. So there are some Master Gardeners that go to field days across the state. You will get emails on your account. So if you fill up your account online and you receive emails, you will get update emails from wherever there will be a field day or a training or something going on in the state. So, and as things come up that I know, I will send on too. If you go to the local home and garden show, that counts for education. Always something to learn. So lots of opportunities. The conferences, there is a International Master Gardener Conference that is taught in the off years. The odd years, odd numbered years are ones, these were major events that had well over 1,000, 2,000 people at them. And they had huge garden shows, and they had lots of breakout sessions that you could choose learning different topics. Nebraska hosted this conference with Iowa State University in Omaha several years back, that we hosted the international several years back. And it's been all different places. It's usually at a big conference center, which is wonderful. I've been to Charleston, South Carolina, or Charleston, West Virginia, and that was really a neat experience at a beautiful conference center where we were at, and we could go to all the educational programs we wanted. We could go through all the vendors, lots of great stuff. There were huge, and it would be like 3 or 4 times the size of the conference room here in North Platte. That was one giant silent auction of all kinds of state materials, books, gloves, tools, plant materials, anything and everything that people brought and donated towards helping defray the costs for the host state to run the conference. And I actually bid on and won a kumquat tree. When I was in Kansas, we were in the conference in Little Rock, Arkansas, and I won that bid on that kumquat tree. And the tree, of course, didn't fly with me back home, but I put it on the bus with the Sedgwick County Master Gardeners from Wichita. And the tree rode from Little Rock, Arkansas to Wichita, and then I drove down to Wichita to get it. So it's kind of fun stuff. So, but you get, it's talk about a kid in a candy store. It's just crazy. It's wonderful. And there's other states that have Master Gardener conferences. Kansas has one that if it happens, we can promote it. If you want to go down to Kansas, most likely it'll be in Manhattan at K-State. South Dakota also has conferences. I've spoken at the one in Rapid City before, so that would be an opportunity. And all of you Master Gardeners are lovers of plants and are probably really dangerous together when you share your ideas. So it's a lot of fun. You'll make instant friends going to these big events too. So a lot of fun. Any questions so far, online or in person?
What percentage of the 40 hours in that first year of education come from these classes versus those that they need to get extra?
Most of the classes come from this, but you can tailor however you want it. There's way more than 40 hours available. So you can do whatever as you want as long as you get to 40. So for new Master Gardeners, there's a set of core classes that I will send out to all of you to take, and that will be done at your self-pace. So you can self-pace those courses. You just have to finish them by the end of October. So.
Does reading horticulture magazine count?
Yes. Yeah.
Old ones. I can't bear to throw them away, so I'll bring them.
Yes.
If you want.
We do have a lot of sharing. So if you have things that you want to share, books, magazines, whatever that you don't want, we share goodies back and forth. So, and I have a box of material here in North Platte. I will show the group here. They can take whatever they want to home tonight if they want it. So you can tailor however you want to learn, but you have to take the core courses that are the self-guided ones. And then you can pick how many classes you want out of this. But the more you come to classes, the more you learn, helps. So then recording our education hours. This is a screenshot that shows the toggle here. There's a bar across the top that says education hours. And so you click on that and it turns a darker shade of red. And then you click on that button and that's where you can start putting in your education hours. So to put them in, this is a screenshot of what you would be adding in. So you'd be putting in your county and your name, and then the date of the event that you learn from. So a class tonight would be January 11th, and then the number of hours. On my group for Master Gardener, each day that's on this schedule is worth 3 hours. Some classes will go more than 3 hours, some will go less. So it's just going to be a flat 3. So always remember that. And you click the drop box and it'll say like initial training. If you are a returning master, it's called advanced training on that box that drops down. And then we'd have to scroll a little bit further down and it hits submit or submit the submit button. And then it'll make the screen go blank and then you can add another entry in. So when you hit submit and you see everything goes blank, don't panic. That means it's recorded. It's already recorded in the system. You can add another entry in. So that isn't so bad.
Can you go back and look
Yes.
at it then? Once you think you've hit submit, you can say,
Yeah, you can look at the hours that you put in and we'll show you that feature.
thank you.
So, and if you have a boo-boo on something, you can edit it. You can edit it back out or take it out. So volunteer hours in general, as they contribute to our educational program, whether it's planning, legwork, actually doing the event, or helping put signage out in the flower beds, whatever that is, it adds to the success of the educational program. And you are sharing correct educational material with the public. Some of you may have heard of Jerry Baker in the past, had a TV show and had magazines and books. He called himself America's Master Gardener. He never attended a Master Gardener class in his life through any of our state extension systems. So then there was a little altercation. He could not call himself a Master Gardener because he hadn't went through the training. He just used that as some, he used it as marketing for himself. And the bad thing is his recommendations were not scientific based. There's a lot of what we would call snake oil. So updated snake oil. So if you ever heard of the patent medicine stuff that went on with snake oil, it was not good recommended stuff. So we're improving our public spaces with an educational component. So that would be, we have a couple programs coming up here that we have an opportunities to start immediately working on. One is converting the flower beds around the extension office in North Platte to a certified pollinator landscape. And so I will send out an email to our group on who wants to meet with me on ordering wildflower seeds for the plants that fit the criteria for the habitat. So we will show you what the plants are. We'll order the seeds. And if you want to help raise wildflowers in the greenhouse and learn how to do that, that's volunteer hours. So that's a great opportunity. We will also be doing this at Buffalo Bill Scouts Rest Ranch in North Platte and at Enders Lake. And those two locations are in conjunction with Nebraska Wildlife and Parks. So we're always partnering with other boards, other agencies to share our knowledge, which also improves our exposure to the general public. So it's a win-win for everyone involved. Building educational partnerships with organizations that we talked about, Game and Parks. I just got an email from the Director of Special Education here at North Platte Public Schools. We have a project there at Buffalo Grade School of a pollinator garden for the pre-K students. So Peggy Romshak is asking for our help to start the plants from seed that will go back out into that garden. We have a sensory garden, which are big tubs where the kids can go up to and touch and feel and smell, and they're non-toxic. So we've got that as another opportunity. So we're always looking to build partnerships and want to show that we are a credible source locally from the university and that we do care and that we're here to help others. Coordinate with extension faculty. So wherever you're at, wherever your local county offices are, or here with me or someone on campus. I just received an email from Dr. Sam Wortman, who is a vegetable crop specialist today. He's wanting to grow some vegetable trials here because of our conditions out in North Platte. So if you have a hankering to help do some work with some vegetable studies, then that will be an opportunity as well. So we work with people at the local level, at the county level, as well as the state level. So, and we can reach people of all ages. And we haven't had any programming with the nursing homes or skilled nursing facilities in Nebraska. That was kind of a new topic. That was something that was common in Kansas. We would do horticulture therapy workshops with the activities directors and the residents, but COVID just obliterated our ability to go into any of those facilities for now. But if someone was interested in partnering with a nursing home, whether it be an outside garden or whether it be activities with the activity director related to plants, that would count as well. So we work with very young children from pre-K all the way up through gerontology. So George Burns and Betty White, we're still working with them too. So I have had some very good experiences working with gerontology and the elderly in my extension career. So if that ever becomes a possibility, we can do that. We also do a lot with youngsters with pre-K. There is a program in several of our communities where there will be early childhood gardening opportunities. So if you're in the community, that would be an opportunity as well. And this is the big one here in the back. This is not for you to go and do work for someone else, because I get these calls every so often. I need a master gardener to come out and prune my fruit trees. You're not labor for someone else. You could show them how to prune the fruit tree or how to make sure that your lawnmower blades are sharpened or you're at the right height for mowing the lawn, but you're not going to go out and mow the lawn for them. So you can do that you can do that elsewise, but it doesn't count for master gardener hours because there are people that will ask that our role is education, not literally doing something like that. So now when we do work out in the greenhouse or in the flower beds, that's towards an educational goal. That's a display something. So there's a little bit of a difference. So some of the projects that we can do for volunteer hours, we help with the state fair with horticulture judging for all the horticulture entries that come to Grand Island. It's on a Wednesday, at the last Wednesday, regular Wednesday of August at the fair building, the 4-H building. It's in an air-conditioned facility. We have people that accept entries. We have people that help write comments as the judge is judging the items, putting on ribbons, reorganizing and displaying everything. Roughly about 1,500 entries have to be sorted and judged and displayed. So several of you in the room here in North Platte have helped with that. And I know some of you online have done that. So that's a lot of fun. There is a state FFA contest for horticulture judging, and that's in Lincoln. If someone wanted to do that, they're welcome to do that. We have an extra special event coming up here March 31st in North Platte, and that is the National Association of Teachers Who Teach Agriculture, NACTA, National Association of College Teachers of Agriculture is the organization. There is a large horticulture judging contest that myself and hopefully some of you master gardeners will help with. And we will be having meetings fairly soon to organize the contest, the plant ID that we need to find out in the community, and writing the test questions off of sample tests from previous years and things like that, as well as helping proctor the actual event. And the event will be at the Sandhills, or actually it'll be here on the grounds of the research farm. The convention's at the Sandhills Convention Center, but the contest will be over in the research building on the grounds here. So there will be an ID contest. There will be ID of plant material and tools. There also is a written exam. There will be a judging class. So instead of four guilts in a class, instead of judging them first, second, third, and fourth, you may be judging 4 6-packs of petunias, for instance. So we'll mix it up on the judging classes, on the different types of things that they will be judging. And we will also be doing what they call a landscape problem set. So we will give them a scenario. So a lot of these things that we learn in Master Gardener, we'll set up scenarios and we'll see if the college kids get the right answer. And so we'll need tabulators and helpers with that if your schedule works for you to help at that event. So any local 4-H activity or youth activity with scouts. I also help with the local Boy Scouts troop here in North Platte. Gain their badges. So some of you may have that with Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Boys and Girls Club, 4-H, any of those will work. We also have our Humane Society has a junior group of youngsters that are part of our Positive Partners here in North Platte. That's also a group. So community projects, if you have a community vegetable garden that you're helping with, or you're doing a demonstration, bed or landscape, that's what this would be around the extension office. If you're doing educational teaching, so if you're been asked to teach a program for a civic organization or giving a talk for the Lions or the Rotary or Optimists or the local gardens, we do have some local garden clubs still around. So any group, that's great. Also, community landscapes. We had some people that used to help out at the local museums landscape. Schools, we also have, our example would be Buffalo Grade School, any nonprofit organization and other communities. So for somewhere, we should be able to find where your project fits in one of these categories. Current UNL and extension programs. So if you answer the phone call, if you answer phone calls, whether you're here or somewhere else, if you're answering phone calls and helping people out, or someone asks you to come over to their yard to look at stuff, absolutely, that counts. We have had Ask the Master Gardener booth at the farmer's market before, and several communities have done that. And if you do that, we have the table, we have the pop-up tent, and then we create a stash of publications that you take out with you and you can hand those out and people come by and pick up goodies. So that would be another opportunity if you like to go to farmers markets. Writing for publication, I do have a Master Gardener that writes at least one that writes a news column story that is published here. And we have at least one that does a radio program in the region that gets on the radio, one of our rural radio stations. If you help with research projects, collecting data, like we've done the tomato research here in the past, we have the chance to do some vegetable research coming up with Dr. Sam Wortman this year. If anything else with the Department of Agronomy and horticulture will work, anything else with any other department within the university that relates to horticulture, plant science, ecology, nature, school of natural resources, any project related to the statewide arboretum, anything related to the Nebraska Forest Service, or any other county community project that's going on. So maybe a community was wanting to do an inventory of all the trees in the community, and you have a forester come out. And so you're going out there and you're doing tree counts, especially with emerald ash borer. That's one example where a community may do one of those projects to find exactly how many ash trees are in North Platte, and when an emerald ash borer comes through and does its damage, we need to find out how many trees we're probably going to lose, and then what are we going to replace it with. So that would be an example of a county or community project. And then there's the other, we call that the junk drawer. If nothing else, you put it in that. There's the recording hours. If you look at the screenshot, and we'll look at this online, I'll do a demonstration one. This is what the screenshot looks like. And then it goes EDU hours for education, and you click on that. And then you have the box where you can add your hours in: county, name, the date, the activity. So it's got all those categories. So you click on a drop box and it'll fall down and you pick what it is. You can write the description of what you have done on this one. And then at the bottom, it'll have how many hours you need to put in. There's a piece that says pounds. Ignore that one. That's a separate grant project. We'll deal with that one later or another way. The contacts, so how many adults that you worked with or taught, and how many children that you taught or interacted with. Hit submit, the screen goes blank, it's added that entry, and then you go on to the next one. And if all else fails, this is my information. My contact information, our address here at the County Extension Office is 348 West State Farm Road here in North Platte. So that's our mailing address. The phone number for the Extension Office is 308-532-2683. My personal cell phone number is up here, and you are welcome to send text messages or call within reason. So hopefully not 11 o'clock at night. So I'll probably just let it go to message unless it's like someone's on fire. So, but that's my contact information. I let you have as much access to get a hold of me as possible, because once restrictions lift, we do a lot of statewide teaching and moving around. So we may be in the office, we may not be, or I may be out in the field during the growing season. Many of you know that I'm out in the greenhouse or the garden. So it's better just to just call the cell phone or send me a text. So that is the handout. So that is it for that. Are there any questions up to this point that you may have? And we'll do a demonstration, but we need a break. So to get up, stretch legs, go to the bathroom, make some more coffee. Any questions that you may have in person or online?
Yeah, this is Nancy. Are you mailing, for those of us doing it online, did you say you're mailing the packets out to us so that we have these papers? Or do we go online and do everything online?
To do your hours or the forms?
All of it, yeah.
Okay, the forms were emailed to you. If not, let me know.
Okay,
If they didn't come, let me know. And if you do have problems with printing, we can mail them to you. So that's not a problem. So we're getting better with what we call DocuSign. So it's electronic signatures. So we're starting to get into that where we can electronically do that. So let me play with it and I can send you those forms out electronically. And so I just got permission from the university to use that. So that will work.
Is there a way to review or go back and listen to these recorded Zoom calls?
Yes, I will record these classes that's on record right now. And then I convert this recording over to YouTube and I will send the YouTube link out to everyone.
Thanks.
And make sure if you're on email, if I email something, please check your junk and your spam folders, because if they get sent out in kind of large groups, sometimes that automatically goes to people's junk or their spam. So always check your junk or spam on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So something will be coming. So sometimes it falls in there. I got a question. Someone asked about scholarships. What kind of scholarships are you thinking of? You do not have to pay your $180 in one shot. We can make payment plans to pay the 180. If that makes sense. So also, as you get more information about vegetables, please share. Okay. And right now it is plant material we're going to grow, and then we're going to plant out in the fields at North Platte. So sometimes we have had plant material where you would plant it and you would observe it at your home garden. But right now we've got to put it in the field here at North Platte. We do have a horticulture plot that we do raise things in. Okay. Elaine said during break, send the email with the handouts. Okay, I will do that. Yes, Elaine, I will email those to you during the break. Any questions? So I'm going to stop share and I'm going to put the recording on pause. And how about 10 minutes, 15 minutes? Is that acceptable? Okay, so let's take a break and we can reconvene. So let's think of 10 minutes. And if it takes a little longer, that's fine. But we'll walk you through what that reporting system looks like. Okay, we'll see you in 10. And I'm going to mute. We get lots and lots of questions related to wildlife damage to plant materials and landscapes, and this covers lots of information. So this is another really good resource, and it's part of why you pay that $180 so you get this one. So this is really good. Your Master Gardener Manual that comes in sections is really good, and I will email all of those smaller section publications to you starting tomorrow, so you have them on hand. So you'll have them. So Gary and Irene, do you want a copy of all this? Because I think you have the old books.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so we'll get
We've got
this.
the older one.
Older one. The older ones are perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with them, but we'll give it to you, get them to you. So
These are all nice in color.
yes, that's also a reason why you pay more money is because it's a color book. It's all colors. It's all full 4-color qualities. So, and it's on glossy papers. So
Is the content similar to what we had before?
the content is similar to previous versions of the Master Gardener Manual in Nebraska. We have some Master Gardeners that have come back that were not in the program in recent years. And so they're asking about the new manual. Is the new manual like the old one? And the content is very, very similar. It's just very integrated instead of tables. So, so I will send that to you as well. So that's available. This is what the name badge looks like. It is a metal badge with a magnet back on it. And I will order those, and we'll need to ask for your name, how you want your name on the badge. This one is just a first name. This is Michelle McNays. So Michelle, if you're on here, here's your name badge. We need to get it to you. And it'll say Nebraska Extension Master Gardener. And that's the new current logo for the Master Gardener program. And I hope, and I think they won't be changing logos around. Since I've been in Nebraska, we've changed them 3 times. So I think they've got it set up where we're going to be static and we won't change it too much. So now since we've got we're getting people's paperwork in, we're getting their money in, then we can order and get the manuals ordered and the t-shirts ordered. So it's a multi-step process to get going. Did anyone have any questions that they might have come up with during our break? Anyone online that had a question online?
Do you do much down by Mead, Nebraska with UNL extension down there?
Down, yes, we have turf plots there. And if you go to the turf grass field day, that's at Mead. We also have our apiary. We have an apiary, so there is honeybee research there at Mead as well. So there are things that are going on at Mead that there will be some training opportunities for that'll be offered statewide. So that's a real possibility.
So when you do your volunteer work, do you get that pre-approved? Or you use your own judgment following the guidelines in here?
Use your own judgment with the guidelines. And if you have a question on, what does this count for, just ask. And I'm not going to be mean and evil. So just tell me what you're doing, or, how do we make this educational? So we have a good educational component that, maybe give it a little extra boost or something. So, but yeah, just ask. Just ask. So that's, when in doubt, when you look at everything that's on the criteria that you saw earlier today, then just let me know. But it's your own judgment. So, and it's amazing what people will say. Well, I've been doing this and I made this partnership, or I'm working with this board. Is like, that's awesome. I am so glad you did that. So you guys know what's going to fly and what's not almost all the time. But if you have any questions on how to modify it or make it better, or how do you go about teaching or doing education, that's perfectly fine. So perfectly acceptable.
Just want to see what kind of crowd you
Yeah.
have. Just get them for the teaching review.
Okay, and we have Randy Sainer, our extension unit leader here in Lincoln, Logan, McPherson counties. They just finished up with County Extension Board across the way at the research building. So,
By the way, we've had master gardeners on our board before, so if you're ever interested, we'd love to have you on the board.
yes. And if you do serve on County Extension Board at your local counties, I would count that as volunteer hours, because you are giving the horticulture perspective to the board for the extension program. So Randy got his plug in for extension board as well. So,
Have a good time. We'll see you.
all right, see you later. Any other questions that you may have? Yes, Elaine says thank you. Elaine Pyle in Scottsbluff County is very active at the County Extension Board level at Scottsbluff County, as well as the state level. There is a state board of county extension boards. It's called Nebraska Association of County Extension Boards. And so she has been state president and been very active. So helping share our story on the horticulture side to the program. So we need to have that representation along with the crops and the livestock and the economics and those things as well. So. You're a very good volunteer, Elaine. Elaine definitely is. So, and if you ever get the chance to meet Elaine, she's wonderful to work with. And if you go out to classes in Scottsbluff, you'll get to meet her. So, not state president, just a volunteer. Okay. I thought you were state president, Elaine, of NASAB.
No,
Okay.
David,
Oh,
I've been involved with a long time. I'm chairman of the nominations committee, but I've not served as president.
okay. Okay.
And I do have, I'll email you about questions regarding some of that volunteer work. I'll talk to you
Okay.
about that. I won't take the time tonight. I'll email you.
Sure.
Thank you.
No problem. No problem. And then I got an email from Zeta Green on, would you like to field a Bermuda grass control question? Yes, I'd be happy to help with that if you send me the contact and who I need to visit with. And I'll share the question with everyone, what the question was, so, and how to go about that. Are we ready to go and look at some of these examples? We'll go to the website, we'll jump out of, we'll get out of PowerPoint and we will go to the web. Get out of PowerPoint and we'll share the web. Okay, so here we are. This is the website. Can everyone see the website on at a distance. Can you see the website on screen sharing? So here is the website to create an account. So for those of you who have not created an account, I'm going to do a dummy example for you. So I'm going to use my wife's contact information. She's not a master gardener, but I will fill it out so you can see how it goes. So her name is Amanda Watt. She lives at 2211 Birchwood Road in North Platte. And her home phone number, so put your home phone number. And then your cell phone. So, and then your email address. And that has an asterisk with red behind it. So if you do not have an email address, we can probably use the email address for the county extension office. But most everyone has an email address. So you do need to register an email address. So okay, the county she resides in is in Lincoln County. And where she's going to train in is Lincoln County in this case. So you click on this one, there you go. And then you can type in your county. You don't have to use the drop box.
I see Nebraska Matters regarding your program, and how do you get to that? It's got, your choices are become a master gardener, volunteer reporting system, resources, online application, training sites, UNL master gardener.
Okay, so Google Nebraska Master Gardener. So here, so I found it on Google. It says Nebraska Master Gardener. So I'm going to click this button. And then I'm going to go over to volunteer reporting. And I'm going to click there. And then it says create an EMG account up here. So you want to click on that one to find your way. And then the reporting county where you report your hours. This is your home county. So if you live in Logan County, but you train in North Platte, you're going to put Logan County in. In this case, Amanda's in Lincoln County. But you report the county, your county of residence.
So if we did this already and we didn't do that right,
Mhm.
I don't know for sure that I put it.
You can change it.
There's,
You can-
there's not a choice for login.
I'll go back here. Okay, so up here to volunteer reporting. Click on there. It says create an EMG account.
Well, what if you already got one?
Okay, you already got one?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, you're ahead of me. Let me finish the other part first. Okay, so we got him and Amanda's stuff. So her username. So in her case, we're just going to put Amanda G. Davis, which is her maiden name, at Hotmail. And then your password, it needs to be one uppercase, one lowercase, one number, and one symbol. So symbol meaning exclamation point, question mark, asterisk, something. And then you can confirm your password. What year did you start EMG? 2022? You do not have to do a photo. A lot of people skip that. And do you wish to receive emails from the program? This means if you click yes, you will get emails sent to you from Terry James on upcoming trainings and activities that she knows of. So it's good to get those emails. Do you choose to hide your contact information? So you can, if you want, you can hide it so no one else sees it but Terry. And then that's all you do. And then you click submit account. So then on our username will be Amanda G. Davis. And then the password. And it goes in. So that's her information. So then we have to put in her date of birth, 10/16/1977. Her information, her home phone number, emergency contact. If there's some reason that we have to call an emergency contact, for instance, put it down. So in this case, it'd probably be me. So I'm not doing, this is not incriminating to anyone else. So your reporting county is Lincoln County. In this case for her, the coordinator is me. This is the phone number. Have you ever been convicted of a felon? No. And then you submit it. I understand with the liability statement, that's a required field. So it talks about the standards of conduct required, personal image, and the volunteer pesticide policy. So you click yes, and that's under here where it says agreements on this tab. So I understand. And you can read the policies. This is what's on paper out in front of you. Because some of you have had accounts, but this feature wasn't in here like it was in the past. So then I can manually come in and say, yes, that you agreed and you signed on all this. Click the submit button. Your agreement acceptance, and it's all been saved. And there you go. And so now you're on. And so we're going to put education hours in. So we're going to report tonight's educational class. So logged in as Amanda in Lincoln County on today's date, but you can also click this calendar icon and you can pick the date for whatever. So we have 3 hours of education, because remember our classes on this are 3 hours long. We select the training. And in this case, she's going to go initial Master Gardener training because she's brand new. Click on that. You do not have to do a description in this case. Click add. It says new hours have been added. The screen remains empty, so you can edit it, delete it, or add it or existing. So there you go. She added an education hour. And then let's do volunteer. So once again, Lincoln County, today's date, the activity, you'll see all the all the categories that you can put it in. So you just keep scrolling down till you find something that you like that fits. So for instance, she helped sort garden seeds that we have kept from past years. That would be helping me in the office organize or get paperwork done or things like that. That's called program management. So we put that in. She did 1 hour of this sorting, helping me. She talked to 2 adult master gardeners and 0 children while she was doing that. Some of you stopped by to visit with her. So you guys shared and you were talking about what you were doing. And you click add. The new hours have been added. So you can edit it. And you can go over to and then you will see her hours will start to record. It'll start to record here and you'll see the hours. So you can view and edit. And this is what it looks like. So this was her recording of doing initial Master Gardener training for tonight on this date. 3 hours is created and that was the date it was updated. So maybe you want to change it where maybe she did 2 hours instead of 3. Click that pencil icon. See where the pencil is by the number, click it. And maybe she only did 2 hours instead of 3. So then you save it, you copy and save. And this saves, that's been changed. So that's how you put it in. So that's how you basically add your hours, your education hours and your volunteer hours. So, and I can walk you through any of these. So if you want to know how to put that together, I can sit with you on a computer side by side in a Zoom meeting. So we can do this via Zoom or we can do it face to face and we'll walk you through your account. So that works out pretty good. So that's an example where we set up a brand new account. And so we're going to exit out. Initial Master Gardener training. Tonight's initial training. So if you're a new Master Gardener, it's initial. If you are a returning Master Gardener, it's advanced. It's called advanced. So then we can, now this is something you won't see on your end because I'm an administrator, but I can basically go in and look for anyone specifically. This gives you, you will see the bars from every year, what our volunteer hours were for our group. If you watch this, so 2019 to 2020 just dropped like a rock because of the pandemic. But I am proud to say we had a 27% increase in volunteer hours from 2020 to 2021. So we are starting to recover. That included some people moving away. We had some people leave the program, and sadly, I had a few Master Gardeners pass away. And so the makeup of the group has changed radically since 2019. So, but I get to see this on my side, the total numbers. So I can look up an individual of what they're doing. So for instance, I'm going to look up the people in 2021 that were active. So 2021, I click on the active button, I can search it. And anyone that's active status, I can go back and look. So here's Zeta Green in Blaine County. Zeta's on, so I can pick on her. You will see that she trained in 2020. She was active. She has her agreements. She filled out her agreements, those click toggles, and she paid her fees. She did 20 hours of volunteering and 13 and a quarter education hours. And so that gives us a glimpse, a snapshot of what everyone does in every county that I oversee for the program. And I can go back and I can change your hours if you need me to change your hours too. So if you can't figure it out, I can come back and edit it too. But I use Zeta because Zeta, you're on here tonight, so but I can sure do that. So I can fix anything. So that helps. I can fix it. So I can mess it up too. And yes, Ladine Brett said, if you can fix it, you can mess it up. And Ladine is a longtime master gardener from Garden County that's joining us tonight. And yes, I have messed it up before. So a lot of this has been learning over time. So I'm looking at the counties that don't have active people in it anymore. So there's a bunch over time that have dropped out or became inactive or someone passed away. So I'm going to flip some pages to get to a Lincoln County one here. So Morgan Greenwood, if I can borrow you.
I was just trying to log into my account, but you see me there?
Yeah, I'm looking you up right now. So here's your information. And it tells us, so since you're coming back to the program, Morgan, I can go over to status here and I can put you in active status and save it. And that's been changed. So now Morgan, who's coming back to the program, is now on active status. You're legal. And so when Morgan pays her money that we gave to Vicky, Vicky will record that you paid your fees. And she will record that in here. So I'm picking on Morgan because I can and she won't hurt me. Not for this, at least. So, and then, she began 2009. That tells us, so it tells us your service years. So, and then the counties that your home county is Lincoln County, you trained in Lincoln County, and your report in Lincoln County. And yep, there's your stuff. So, but yep, there you go. So that's an example of someone. So Gary and Irene, I can turn your accounts back on.
Oh, my name on there a little bit.
Yeah, you're on there, so I can click the active button and activate your account. So,
I paid.
yes, you paid. You paid. Vicky will be going in and linking that you paid. So, and then we'll turn your status back to active. So this is kind of the tedious part after all of you leave. Then we're going through and checking and making sure everything's on there. So, but you can see in these older Master Gardener entries, there is not a tab for your agreements that your forms. So we have to manually put that in. So, but the newer ones have that. So, so there's some management that goes on behind the scenes in the program to make sure that you have everything that you need so you can keep track. So, but any questions about this? It's probably a lot to look at.
Not letting me log in from here.
Okay.
Should I reset my password or re-register?
You can just reset your password and I'll show you how to do that as well. So once we're here, so this is the screen that you would log in on, whether you're me as a coordinator or you as a master gardener. So if I forgot my password, it's going to ask me to put your username in, if you remember that, or the email that you used. So just put in your password or your email account that you're connecting this to and hit submit. And it will automatically send your password back to you on email. So if you lose that, you can get your email back. You can get your password back. And it won't let me go back. It just, so I'm going to go out of this. So I'm going to log out. And then if you need help, if you need help where you don't even remember your username or your web or your email address that you used, this is where you would type in your name, first and last, the email that you plan to use, type a request. There's a toggle one. So new system problem logging in, and you type in your question and then you submit it, and you should be getting an answer back the next day or so. So if you do it tonight, you'll get an email from Terry next day. So that's not so bad. So that helps. So all is not lost. All is not lost. Let's see. Anything else?
I just saw a screen that said exams. So are there exams for these?
We do. Part of the program is there is an exam at the end of the year. But what I do is I write very simple questions from each lesson. And I send that out for people to answer. And then we go over the questions out from the last class as a refresher before we start the new class. So we just, we review the last one, then we go to the next. And this is, which is a perfect segue, is the review for the Master Gardener exam. And so it was a 20-question test. And so we can just go into review now. And so this is set up on Google Forms, and you will get a link from me, and it'll look like this. And the questions are multiple choice. And I will write the question, and it will send the answers back to you once you submit it. So, and we'll go over them. The idea is not to penalize you or write trick questions or make this a miserable experience. What we're wanting you to do is just remember some of the key things from each of our lessons, and we do 10 questions. So, and then I build you a big, and it was 17 pages last time. The study guide was 17 pages of all the questions that we asked over the year. And you realize you covered a lot of stuff in 1 year. Isn't it amazing? And then we do the test, and this is what the test looks like. So you put your email in, and it tells me everyone that responded. So it gives me the scores and of how and everyone that came through and went through it. So for instance, for those of you who are online and those of you who are in here, let's do the review. So full sun exposure in a landscape is considered how many hours in a day? Anyone hazard a guess? We really need 8. 6 is the absolute minimum for full sun. And out here, we just need to remember it's 8. So the next question is, we will hammer this one home all the time. Complete the statement: the right plant in the right place in the right environment. So we're talking about the right soil, the right wind, the right amount of moisture, the slope, the sun exposure, all those factors come in. So we're putting a plant in the right growing environment in the right place that can grow out in Western Nebraska in the right environment. So that is that one. The plant process that releases energy of stored sugars to fuel growth is called, I put some funny answers in there too. So this is how I write these. So I do not intend to torture people. It's respiration. It's the respiration process. And for those of you who are going to take the classes, the self-paced classes, this will be in the self-paced class. This is a question from the self-paced class. So I will get that out to you tomorrow. The question now is this binomial nomenclature. Binomial nomenclature is the process that was started by Carlos Linnaeus, the Swedish botanist, that you have a genus and a species. So Canis lupus is a dog, or is a wolf, for instance. Canis lupus, those are the 2 words. And so that's how we categorize the genus and the species. And then we have The category to discuss different species with general related characteristics. One example is Asteraceae, which is the sunflower or the aster family. It's a family. We talk about a lot of families in horticulture. And Asteraceae is the sunflower or the aster family, and one of the largest that we will be doing work with, or we will learn about, because we have a lot of plants in that plant family out here in this part of the world. When repotting a house plant, how many pot sizes should you move the plant up to? And the answer is 1. Always move up to 1, the next pot size. Don't jump, don't put a little house plant in a big monster. And we talked about that in the house plant class last year. Tap water in Western Nebraska is high in pH, so it's opposite of an acid, which leaves leaf margin burn on many plants. True or false? You see burns on leaf plants, the edges and the tips? That is true. We have a high pH. The pH of our water and the pH of our soil is very high, and it is opposite of what a lot of our tropical houseplants want. That's why we recommend using reverse osmosis water or bottled water or distilled water, especially with really fragile plant material like African violets. Really prefer that. Okay, the next question is the white stuff present on the top of potting media, which is potting soil, of an established house plant or inside the container is a sign of what? Yeah, mineral buildup. It's that good old lime that you find built up around your faucets out here. Which USDA growing zones are found in Nebraska? 4 and 5. 9 and 10 would be Florida. So, and 1 and 2 is going to be somewhere up in Canada. Choosing landscape plant material that is resilient, even in the case of extreme weather and climate, is an example of
Right plan, right place.
the right environment. Exactly. So that's what we usually are trying to really recommend people is don't try to cheat and put a plant that's not going to thrive in a right environment. It ends up costing you a lot of time, money, and effort that's going to fail. This is from a design class, so landscape design, and that's also in your self-paced class for brand new master gardeners. A seamless linkage between diverse features to create blending where plant and other elements are related to are, what is it called? What makes most sense? Interconnected. Yeah, interconnection. So it does basically, as mom would say, it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. So checking the moisture in a container at least daily is important to keep growing media hydrated. True or false? Especially in summer, we need to check it every day. Thinking of your outdoor stuff, your house plants are more forgiving. If you're going outside, the smaller the container, the quicker things dry out. Bigger containers take less. They buffer each other a little bit. Blank is the hard outer skeleton of an insect. It's an exoskeleton. It's their plate of armor. Insects have a plate of armor built of chitin, which is a material similar to the shell material on a lobster. So it's a protective layer. Instead of talking about families and entomology, so we're talking about insects now, we tend to talk about groups of insect by their order, rather by their order. So we will talk about orders of insects that are similar. So Hymenoptera are your bees and your wasps, for instance. Coleoptera is the order of beetles. Now, there's lots of beetles, a lot of beetle species. That's also in your self-paced class. A blight disorder is caused by conditions external to the plant, such as wind, light, and temperature. That's abiotic, meaning it's not from a bacteria or a virus or something like that. It means maybe it was placed out in the sun too much and sunburned, or the plants got wind whipped. Sun, wind, cold, premature thawing, freeze, those are all abiotic conditions. We see in general terms a lot of abiotic problems that people want to control with an insecticide or something. And you really shouldn't do that because it's not even the right kind of problem. So there's a learning curve. There's a teaching opportunity to help teach people. Disorders caused by living organisms such as viruses, bacteria, fungi, insects, etc., are called biotic. So the insects that are such as the flower thrip that passes on Aster yellows, that is a biotic problem where the insect feeding causes the disorder. It's a virus. A reentry level interval is a time period that needs to pass after applying a pesticide that has been applied and is safe for humans or animals to re-enter the treated area. True or false? True. If you've ever had your lawn treated, there'll be the little flags and say, wait so many hours before you go back out and walk on the lawn, or let the pets out to play. Or if we're treating something in the greenhouse, there will be a specific bright colored card posted on the door, entryways of the greenhouse, and they'll say the date, the time, the product that was used, what it was used for, and how many hours you have to wait to come back in. So that's what a reentry level is, interval. The pesticide label is a legal document in the state of Nebraska that master gardeners must follow when applying personally or giving recommendations. True or false? Absolutely true. So we can under recommend. So if you use Miracle-Gro, you can cut the rate in half. That's perfectly fine. We can't recommend over usage. Does that make sense? We can't go over the recommended rate because we have people that will call and say, well, if a little bit does good, a whole lot will do even better. And by law, we can't do that. We cannot recommend that. And I had one guy that really argued with me because he thought I could. It's like, nope, by law, I cannot. And if anyone argues with one of you, you send them to me and I'll tell them. And I said, if you want to visit with the university attorney, I'll give you his phone number. So, two more. Being observant in the growth and development of a garden and landscape over time is one of the best integrated pest management strategies a gardener can use. True or false? True. Watching, seeing what's happening. Is something starting to change? We're starting to see a disease like Aster yellows. That's kind of a telltale sign that a thrip is out there feeding because that's the insect that spreads that, for instance. So it's what I call reading the landscape or reading the garden, reading all those little telltale signs before we go out with the pesticides, the insecticide, the weed killers, things like that. And then the last one is the instrument that is used to calculate the composition of soil that adds percentages of sand, silt, and clay to total 100%. And it's a soil triangle. That was that little diagram that I had in the manual from Oregon State University Extension. I can put this up on video. I can stop sharing. I can show this to you. But that's what the exams look like. They are not, it's not torture. And the tests are open book. So your quizzes are open book. You can follow your notes that you write and follow them. So we get some laughter about it. We joke around, but the idea is learning and not making that. So this is what a soil triangle looks like. And that's also in the classes for beginning master gardeners. I can share that. Share that publication around for everyone to look at. This example, what we call the jar test, is using a jar. You fill your soil, and you add water, and then you add a detergent. And the old fashioned way was to add Calgon bath salt, bath detergent. And you shake it and everything settles out neatly, and you'll find out how much percentage silt, sand, and clay are in the jar. And that tells you the composition of your soil, and you transfer the percentage. The measurement is a percentage, and then you add those pieces together and it'll pinpoint it where it is on the triangle. And I can do that as a group to show you guys what it looks like. So I'll demonstrate that to you. But that is the exam. That's what the end of the year exam looks like. So that's not too bad, is it? It's not too bad. And if you get, Zeta teaches at Sandhills School up in Dunning, and she said, we did that last week in lab. So if you and the rest of the Master Gardeners would like that publication, that'll be another thing I'll send out on email. So so I'm already starting to send you goodies. So make sure you save them on your computer or whatever. So that's what the end of the year test is. And that's 20 questions. We'll do 10 questions that I will write after each class. So you'll get a recording of the class, you'll get the quiz, and then any other publication, stray publication like that one, I'll connect in an email to everyone and you'll get it. But do remember to check your junk mail or your spam file. It may have fallen in there. So if it doesn't go in, if you don't see it on your email, check your junk or your spam. Or if you have really tight security on your email, it may go to trash. So if you don't see anything within a couple of days, please let me know and I will make sure you get it. So, but that gets us started. That gets us started with training. I have a lot of stuff I've got to send out to you all. So for the new ones, I will get you your modules for the self-paced classes to get started. Next week, I will do a program on what we call no-till vegetable gardening, meaning we're not going to be using the rototiller. And it's a way to increase the good microbes in the soil. And there is some science behind it. So what you learn from the class that I'm going to teach will make a lot of sense when you get to the soil section of your self-paced study class. And you'll say, aha, you'll see the connections, how it all links together. So, yes, lady.
Vegetable gardening is just a little bit smaller area. But I've been doing no-till farming for years. And it works.
It's a way to improve your soil health. And as you're adding soil amendments, it helps increase your soil drainage and your water and nutrient holding capacity. So it will increase the quality of your gardening soils and will also, as you do your crop rotations, will also reduce the need for disease control if you rotate correctly. So you're keeping your bacteria colonies down for some of the common wilt problems and diseases. And it also can attract good insects. So it's really, and if you're using your mulches and you keep the weeds down. So no-till gardening will be next Tuesday's class. And so that will be for all of us, whether you're new or you're a veteran. And our people that are watching just for the sake of watching will get to watch this one too. So we have people that are just watching for the year. So, but that is it for tonight. Any questions that you may have in person or out on Zoom? No questions? There will be, I can bring some stuff related to some permaculture in there because it does kind of go together. There's also a form called hugelkultur, which is mound building with gardening. And I can share those resources with you too. So that will go in. It's all kind of, it all kind of goes hand in hand. It's related. So it's good. And all of these strategies are very complementary. Okay, so for new master gardeners, we're required to take both the Zoom and the self-paced classes. You can take the self-paced classes whenever. There are not nearly as many of them, but it's always good to watch the Zoom classes, at least watching the recording. So that's one way you'll slam dunk get your 40 hours if you're brand new. Super easy.
And our Zoom classes every Tuesday now?
Yeah, they're pretty much every Tuesday. I try to keep classes on Tuesdays. So on kinds of thing, you kind of remember Tuesday at 6:30, 5:30 Mountain. So, and then for any projects that I might be doing that you have an opportunity, if you want to help plan or do something, I'll probably do those on Thursdays. Wednesdays, I totally avoid like everyone else. Everyone needs a break. So if we do some planning, whether it's a meeting where there's Zoom, it'll be on a Thursday. And then I will put out an electronic poll so you can choose which days best work for you to meet. So if you want to help me write that horticulture ID test for that contest in March, that'll probably be done online because we can do that here and online together. So not a problem. And I'll put out a poll and you can pick if you want to participate. You can pick the dates and we'll figure out a time, but it'll probably be on Thursday evenings. So, and there's sometimes we do some things on Saturdays too. So, but I also know everyone wants their weekends too. I want my weekend too. So. Yes, your books will be sent to you. You will get your books sent to you. So if you're in town, you can pick them up, or I go out to the remote counties in my region. So I will send those. I can get them to you one way or another. So otherwise, that's a real headache getting waiting. I get these books and I get them dropped off. Either people pick them up or I'm going to teach at another program in another town and I'll meet you and we'll pass books around. Shirts, however. So anything else?
You mentioned pesticides earlier. From a legal standpoint, is there any certification as part of this that goes with that?
You can take private pesticide certification in the state of Nebraska if you want to. And if you take that training and get your certification, your time taking the class and getting your certification would count towards education hours. So if you want your Nebraska certification for private pesticide, you can do that. Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Or if you're a commercial applicator, I don't know if I've ever had any commercial applicators in the past, but if you take your commercial applicator's license, the skills that you are required to have to pass the exam are very good and would definitely benefit you in the Master Gardener program. Do we also learn? Yes, when we try to, when we talk about integrated pest management is using all the different tools that we have in our toolbox. And the last tool that we usually go for is the pesticide. So we're going to do crop rotations. We're going to do soil amendments. We're going to do no-till gardening. We're going to do complementary plantings. All those things are practices that do not require a pesticide.
Yeah.
So when we teach integrated pest management, we always try to find a tool that we can use to remedy the problem before we reach for the pesticide. Now, that's a definite change in thought out here in rural Nebraska. For years, it was go get the pesticide first. But we found out there's some things we can do before then so we can avoid the pesticide. And we will teach that. We will also teach the pesticide things so we're safe as well. So you want to know the full spectrum of what you've got to work with. That's really important. Doesn't mean you have to use it. So if you can do it all without using a pesticide, that's great. Absolutely. Any other questions? If not, I'm going to stop the recording and we're going to finish up for tonight, and we'll see you next week, next Tuesday, 6:30 Central, 5:30 Mountain, and we're going to talk about no-till vegetable gardening.